Welcome to this week's episode of Beyond Sports. I'm your host, the Fitted Nuggets fan, and joining me today is a very special guest all the way from our hometown CU Buffs, DJ
Meow, meow,
Fedora.
meow, meow, meow. I'm in the building, man.
Yeah. Hey, thank you so much for coming on, man.
Man,
Really
thank you for
appreciate it.
having me, man. It's always good to touch the city, man, and see all the wonderful things that people, you know what I'm saying, from the hometown are doing. So I'm glad to be here.
Oh, absolutely. So, DJ, your team has just been absolutely killing it this season. Looking really good with Neon Dion at the helm.
I'm gonna call him Coach Prime so I don't get in trouble. But
Coach Prime. Is he not a fan of the Neon Dion?
from what I hear, I believe that it's Prime Time and Coach Prime. So I'm gonna just stick with the brand.
All right. I appreciate and respect that. Out of pure respect as well. Prime Time it will be. I love that nickname. You know, he's got so many good ones.
Absolutely.
It's great. So, hey, before we get too far into, this season and everything, I always like to kind of see where our guests got started out and everything. Obviously you're in a unique place now and
Absolutely.
been very successful in your position, and there's a lot of people out there aspiring in the music community. So can you tell us a little bit about what really got you started in the music realm? Can be like kind of the first thing.
No, absolutely, man. I come from just a theatrical arts background, believe it or not. Undergrad was in college. I was a dance major, and I kind of got into the music side on that, just being classically trained in modern jazz, tap, and ballet. Moved to Harlem after college for a little bit, did the dance thing there. Then kind of came back stateside. My mom's got sick, so I kind of came back stateside, started a salsa dance studio. And believe it or not, I got into the actual DJing side because we had a guy come into our studio once a month, and we were being charged a ridiculous amount of money. And so the person that was with me at the studio, so I was like, hey, man, you can learn how to do this. You're giving him all the music, like being fresh from Harlem, like I had all the new tracks. Like, man, you need to learn how to do this to save our studio money. So believe it or not, I learned how to DJ and self-taught just by trying to save a little bit of bread.
Wow, and I think that's a really cool backstory, especially because I feel like, some of the best, that's where they come from, just out of necessity, and then they fall into this kind of great thing that they find talent in, and, you've clearly found that. And fast forward to today. So what kind of started you on the path of getting into the more professional side of DJing, obviously having the studio and everything. So what really steered you on, like, hey, I'm going to do this for real?
Absolutely, man. Like, for one, I kind of stopped dancing, so I got fat. and two, it really, towards the end of that, my dance career, the DJ money was starting to, come in a little bit, heavier than the dance money anyway. And so it was just a natural transition for me, man. And, for me, there's a healing quality in music. You know what I'm saying? Right after that kind of dance section, I had lost my mom. And so I kind of went through my tumultuous time, as many of us that have lost loved ones kind of naturally go through. And kind of finding myself again was the music thing. Like, finding myself, I almost remember to the day hearing a record and just the way it affected my mood. You know what I'm saying? And so I was like, you know what, there's actually a healing property in music. A lot of us use music on our everyday lives. There's a soundtrack to almost everybody that I know, right? And so in finding that healing, I started to think to myself, there's other people that need this. And so that's really what started me, like, from a DJ to an artist. I feel like, as a DJ, you can just play records, but as an artist, there's a higher purpose, higher calling. And so that kind of started me artistically in the music realm, for sure.
Wow, that's incredible. And, very sorry to hear about your loss.
Yeah,
like you said,
man, I appreciate that.
Something we have to go through in life, but always something difficult. And it's good to hear that you were able to find something that really spoke to you and healed you through that, and especially something that you've turned into so great. So
yeah, absolutely.
What got you ended up connecting with the CU Buffs? That's become like such an incredible thing here in Colorado. Right. So where did you get connected there?
So it's really there's really two people responsible for the full transformation and me kind of getting that opportunity, and it's kind of a double pronged thing. So one in being you have all the basketball gear here. One is Chauncey Billups, right, a hometown hero. So Chauncey was kind of given the opportunity. Coach Prime reached out to him and kind of was asking, I need a DJ, for our program. And so the other guy that's responsible is another, what I call a hometown legend is KDJ Above. And so he's also a very prominent DJ, in throughout the Denver community. And so KDJ Above originally got the call. He was the first one to get the call. and something inside of him just knew that I was a better fit for whatever reason. You know, I've always gone by the gold standard. I grew up in Boulder. I went to high school in Boulder. And so something phonetically inside of him was like, you know what? I have the perfect person for you. So it was those two referrals. And, you know, I tell people all the time, you know, my relationships and my relationship with community is really the reason why all of this came to fruition and came about. One, you know, I met Chauncey Billups not through anything but volunteering in the community. That's how me and him brushed shoulders. And so when I was recommended by KDJ, he was like, oh, I know Fedora, right? I know the work that he's done and the quality of work that he was done. So that was kind of how I got that opportunity. And also, you know, building a real relationship with KDJ above and him having the fortitude to say, you know what? This is the guy that you need. This is the guy for the job. This is the guy that's going to get it done for you. So it was really those two people that were responsible for my hiring up at CU.
Wow. I mean, that's incredible. I mean, what two better people to point them in
Oh,
your
yeah, for
direction?
sure.
I mean, that's some
Absolutely.
pretty good brain stamping right there for you.
10,000%. 10,000%.
So what was it feeling like when you got that call, when you were asked? I mean, was it
man.
like just a beam of light hit you, or?
I mean, you know, I think the first thing was just pure excitement, you know, being a Boulderite, growing up in Boulder. You know, I remember going to a CU football camp when Eric Bieniemy was the running back coach. And so just having a real cultural, you know, history in Boulder. I went to Fairview High School. You know, Coach Tom McCartney is Bill McCartney's son, the guy who won all the championships up there at
Wow.
CU. So,
Wow.
you know, that CU blood, you know, really runs through me. And so after the sheer excitement, it's like, you know, execution. I'm looking at, you know, things to try to get acclimated with what I need to do. Really, I knew, like, the major thing was to give me my theme music. Like, I knew that exactly was going to be the moment that I had to nail down. But the rest of it was kind of, you know, up in the air. I really didn't have a whole lot to go off of in my first interaction with the team. So it really was execution mode and just sheer nervousness to, you know, to rise to that occasion and get that moment right.
Right. Because when you get the phone call, that's really when it starts.
Absolutely. That's when the work
beginning.
starts.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, you've arrived, but you've
Absolutely.
arrived at the work.
There's
And
still
a
work
lot
to
of
be
people
done.
forget
Absolutely.
that. Yeah, so it's
absolutely.
good, you know, put your head down and you got right into it. And,
10,000%.
you know, it's clear that they're moving things along. You know, I've been told that you're actually one of the first, or if not the first, traveling DJ.
Yeah, so we've done a little bit of research, and to date, I am the first traveling DJ in Division I football.
Wow.
So my first season, you know, there was kind of an acclimation there, so I just did the home games, and then, you know, it's also, you know, a trial period and a labor of love, and also trust has to be established, right?
Right.
So building my rapport with the team and all of the staff members. This season, they felt more comfortable with taking me on the road, and so I've actually been to all of the games this season. And so it's just a blessing, man. It's kind of one of those dream jobs that you have. You know, you only get one or two of these in your career, and so I'm definitely blessed and fortunate.
Yeah, and I would say that, you know, you're taking full advantage of that in a positive way and really
Absolutely.
supporting the team. And so I love how you've kind of broken things down. And so what would you say is your method to tailoring sets to help, like, energize the team and specific fans when you're traveling to other stadiums? Like, how does that work?
You know, I try to tell people that, you know, phonetically DJing is a one-man show, right? So phonetically DJing as we know it is where it's you, two turntables, and a mixer, and you're entertaining. Well, the way that this has been, you know, presented and the way that this is going, it's a very different concept because now I'm working in the constructs of a team, and it's really about minimizing myself and pushing the team to the forefront. So if you've followed any of our clips and things that, you know, Well Off Media or Reach the People Media posts in terms of all of our social media stuff, you'll realize that it's really the team in the forefront. So what I try to tell people is that my job is to enhance the environment and not distract. And it can be a very, very thin line, but I really consider myself the soundtrack of the team. So a lot of research goes into what do the players like, what are they listening to, and playing to the moment, right? You know, there's been some really, really great CU football moments, and being able to capture the right song to go with that moment. And so it's really been a labor of love, but a lot of, as I call it, DJ homework and research is required, you know, to stay up on what's current. These are, you know, young kids. And so there's music that's coming out vastly every single week. And so I have to make sure that I have all of those records at my disposal. Not to mention, you never know with the CU football locker room who walks in there, right? So if Master P walks into our locker room, shouldn't I play some Master P records and vice versa? So we love to show love to all the, celebrities and artists that come through. So that's also part of the job.
Yeah, I saw that you guys had Rick Ross in there.
Yeah, Rick Ross and DJ Khaled
week, right? Yeah,
for sure.
That was pretty awesome. So did you get a little bit of hustling going? Or?
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You got to do it, and it's crazy because, I've met a lot of people through this outfit that are people that I grew up off of and music that I listened to when I was playing, as a Tyke. So all of those things are definitely paramount to the job at hand.
Wow, that's awesome. And again, just such a unique experience for you and such an awesome application that you've taken. And I really love your thought process behind it, really trying to capture the emotion behind everything. And I love the phrasing of soundtracking the game because it's a combination of both. It's the moment, the music, it's everything. And when it blends together, it really does create something magical. And It's great to see that you're using that. So one other question that I would have, especially with your background, combining with dance and then your master's in music, how do you implement that when you're approaching your overall mix for a game? What kind of thought process goes into that?
That's a great question. So, for me, phonetically, music scientifically affects us, right? If you're going to go work out, why do you grab your headphones? If you're going to go for a jog, why do you grab your headphones? And so for me also, if you're getting ready to study for kids that are in college, there's a soundtrack to everything. And so for me, I'm really, and even our pregame ritual, I don't just blast the most up-tempo stuff right when we get into the locker room. I try to kind of, get them, and then we kind of gradually climb, and then we get to the peak right before those boys, hit the tunnel, they're ready to run through a wall. And so, even phonetically, I try to pace it to where, I'm evoking the response. When they first get into the locker room, I want it to be a warm feeling. I want it to be bouncing around, interacting with each other. I know that there's certain records that they like that gets everybody interacting. And also, when we think about it, traditionally football, a lot of people walk into locker rooms with their headphones on and they're listening to their own thing. Well, think about how subconsciously it has to feel when nobody has headphones on and everybody is jamming to the same record. So even on a subconscious level, it makes the frequency of the team the same. So everybody's on the same page, on the same vibe, consciously and subconsciously. And I think that builds a rapport and a chemistry with the team that absolutely can give you an edge when it comes down to the task at hand and being, in communication and behaving and acting like a team.
Yeah, I would agree 100%. It's those intangibles when you look at sports that really do make the difference, because a lot of those things are the things you can't explain. The connection with Shadori and Travis. And,
absolutely.
Just those guys getting locked in before a game, it all connects. So,
absolutely.
Again, just using that science and really kind of honing in, it's showing that
absolutely
it works as well.
We have physical therapists, we have nutritionists in college football. Why can't these kids just eat whatever they want to eat? Why can't they just work out and do whatever they want to do in the gym? There's absolutely a science to it. And my hope is that we understand through this musical therapy, as I call it, that there is a way to implement a musical system for players to get a more efficient practice, to get a better focused practice. And I think that what Coach Prime does is brilliant, right? So when I'm DJing at practice, it's not like an all-out DJ festa where I just get to do whatever. Whenever those players are off tasks, Coach Prime will tell me to cut the music. So now it's almost like a subconscious thing to where when our DJ is playing, it's used as an incentive. So if everybody does their job and everybody's doing what they're supposed to do, we have the luxury of having the songs that we like to help get us through practice. But when we're off task, there is no DJ, and practice may be a little mentally tougher, or the focus may need to be greater.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just utilizing the lack of music, too, in the program to emphasize the absence of it.
Absolutely.
And that's really it's just so interesting how you're breaking this all down, because it is kind of eye-opening. Why isn't this more looked at? And there's already so much science with music and sports performances. So absolutely. I'm just kind of surprised that, I just haven't really seen this been discussed in the DJ community, especially in the sports DJ community, which is where you would think it would start.
And it's new ground, and I think that every locker room in America, from college to semi-pro to professional, they all have state of the art sound systems. And a lot of times what the pro players will tell you is they just pass around the aux cord. Well, that's good and fine, but as a DJ, I'm able to adjust the temperament and the mood of a room at my fingertips, right? And so it's just a more effective way to do it, And if you know anything about CU football in general, we're trend setting a lot of things. I mean, we catch a lot of heat for things, but I bet you in the next 5 years, you're going to see a lot of other major programs following suit because the NIL era is here, and all of these things help attract people to come to your program.
Yeah, 100%, especially from the display perspective when they come and visit, and there's a whole DJ set up in there,
absolutely
in their locker room,
and it makes a difference because when you're and it's funny, like you even say that like on the recruiting tip, right? Mm-hmm. Let's say you have parents that are from Alabama, and you come into the CU locker room and you have a DJ that's fully set up in buff gear, full customized gear, and he's playing your favorite music from Alabama. What I love about DJing for the players is that there's times to turn them up and get ready for a game, but I've had so many players come to me and say, oh, man, Fedora, when you played that throwback jam, it reminded me of my house. It reminded me of home. It reminded me of my mom's cooking. Wow. So there's an element there to where you can create an environment to where, being away from home and being at college is tough. Homesick is a thing. Mm-hmm. So even there's sometimes I come in the lunchroom and just play for lunch hour just to give the staff and the team a break, a mental break, and to be able to kind of enjoy each other through the fellowship of music. So I definitely feel like these positions can definitely be filled and my hope is that other working DJs start to get fully employed by these big programs because it's going to do nothing but benefit the players and staff all around.
Yeah, especially when I think they take that professional approach that you are, where there's so much science and strategy behind what you're doing. And I just love that we're tying it back to like the team camaraderie element, that hometown feel element that we can provide, and just getting everybody together. And I think that's such an underrated quality for a team. And one thing that you pointed out that was great is just passing around the aux cord. It's like, well, how personal is that? Like one guy shares and like everyone judges the one person for that one song, and like maybe they don't like it. Like now we've got some negativity in the locker room before a game, and so you kind of take that edge off as well. So kind of tying into all these sciences and strategies, what would you say is, how you use specific music genres and like tempos of that nature to impact their focus and energy levels when they're out there on the field?
Absolutely. I mean, so I can take you through like a practice.
Sure, yeah.
So I'm going to get to practice probably an hour early to make sure everything is set up and ready to go. And one of my favorite parts of practice is I love to play music as the players are coming down to the field. So I'm probably going to play some old school, some funk, you know what I'm saying? Because the players, it reminds them of home. It's a lighthearted energy. And what I also love is the staff love it. The thing about having a football team, you really have two age dynamics. You have the age dynamic of your staff, and you have the age dynamic of your players. And so when you create a fun environment, a lighthearted environment where people bounce around, they're having a good time, they're able to come down and get a little dance on and get a little team chemistry and camaraderie. I mean, when you think about a big, thing about having a good football team, they always talk about team chemistry. A lot of the things that Colorado's got heat for, well, okay, they were heavy in the transfer portal, and they're not going to be able to gel and play as one. You got to keep in mind, our guys hang out with each other, they study with each other, they go eat together. You know what I'm saying? They listen to the same music. They share that. They go fishing together. So our guys are really tight in Colorado football as a whole. It really is a family. So when you create that family aspect, with the music, it definitely sets it off in terms of creating a tighter bond. You want to see your coaches having a good time. You want to see your players having a good time. Work doesn't feel like work sometimes when you're engaged in that way.
Yeah, and then also being able to kind of bridge that gap between the music genres for them, and like, the youngins getting on the old ones for
absolutely.
Oh, you like this song, or vice versa. Like, and I think that's kind of an additional thing that really it's just it all layers in,
And our players are diverse, man. I have played from country to funk to gospel to rap to R&B. I mean, you name it. We play. The clips that you guys see are a very, very small part of what actually goes on.
Yeah, and again, it just seems like you're layering so much of this in. But I got kind of a silly question for you. I just got to know, what's Warren Sapp's favorite song?
You know what's funny? I think I would go to say probably the most reaction I got out of Warren Sapp was when we played Too Short, Blow the Whistle.
Oh,
Something about that song, man.
I can see that.
And him being a defensive guy, I mean, that was the one for him. But Sapp, I mean, one thing I love about Coach Warren Sapp is like, man, he's such a genuine guy. I mean, he's such a passionate dude. I mean, whenever I am in that building and I see Coach Warren Sapp, he gives me the biggest hug, and it's just like, hey, DJ, I'm happy to see you. And it feels so genuine. And so he's probably one of the nicest guys I've ever met. But I would say that if I had a one-shot, one-kill to get him going, I would play that Blow the Whistle for sure.
That's too funny. I can instantly picture that going down on the practice field just right off the top of my head. But he does seem like a very genuine guy. That's why I wanted to ask, because I felt like he had some wholesome answer.
Absolutely, yeah.
I'd love that. But, the Buffalo, the CU Buffs, man, they've just been killing things right now. They're 4-1 on the season. And, with all this that you've got going on, what kind of role would you say you play into those victories? What would you say is your main component to that?
I mean, I just feel like I'm a supporting role, right? And I feel like, when it comes to CU football, there's a couple things that I can say about it, emphatically. One is that I've never been in one singular building with so many great people in that one building. Like, per square feet in that building, I'm talking about from the time you walk in to the time you leave that building, you are surrounded by greatness. And then the other thing is that one thing about you cannot be involved with CU football if you don't absolutely love what you do. Mm-hmm. Everybody that's in that building, they love what they do, and it doesn't feel like work because everybody is hungry. We know that what our goals are, what we're set out to do, and so everybody just goes about their business and everybody plays their part. And so for me, one being the soundtrack of the team, but also trying to make those moments that we have, iconic in terms of playing the right thing at the right time and really supporting the fellas and what they're feeling on the inside coming out. When you see us after a victory, I mean, we're really joyous. I mean, we really have an intention for all the hard work that's going in, we celebrate those wins. But what you'll also know is the very next day, we're absolutely back to work. So we have that moment to where we celebrate and we relish in the accomplishment, but we never take our eye off the ball in terms of what is to come.
Yeah, and I think that speaks so much to the program that Deion's helped create and, that you're now a part of, and you're fueling that system as well. And I just love to see all the magic that's happening. I know that it has its fair share of haters, but, man, if you really follow what Deion's saying and what the team's about, it's a lot of positivity. And it is really good, let's be greater than we were yesterday type mentality.
Absolutely, man.
Why hate on that? There's nothing wrong with that. I think that's even outside of football, it's applicable, and I think, like you said earlier, Deion's really trying to set these kids up for the future and just bringing in all these greats, I think has been incredible.
One thing that I can say about Coach Prime, unequivocally, is that he is all about setting people up for success, and he's just a great human being. I mean, I can honestly say that Coach Prime is a absolute great human being. He has looked out for me and other people around that building in ways that, he doesn't have to. And so everybody loves coming to work with Coach Prime because it's an exciting environment to be in, but it's also an environment where you can enrich and become your best self. Nobody asked me, to go as hard as I go for CU football. I want to go as hard as I go for CU football. I went from a person that was emphatically overweight. After last season to this season, I've lost 65 pounds.
Wow.
Nobody told me to, but you know what? Being in this environment, being motivated every day, being around these guys, it's excited me to get to work as well. And so what I can say about being part of CU football is that it is created a new fire inside of me and drive inside of me to really push me to be the best human being that I could possibly be. And so it's just been a great experience.
Wow.
Especially to be from Boulder, man. It gets no better. We got fly gear now. We got celebrities coming through. I mean,
it's been really incredible to see the celebrity flooding in. And like you said, being from Boulder, it's got to be almost surreal just to see it. It's like a movie right now. It's
a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, man.
And I love that you're enjoying it while it lasts.
Absolutely.
Maybe Deion could coach for 20 years, but I don't think I mean, I don't know. Maybe he
Right.
does, but
Absolutely.
just enjoy it while you have it. And I love that we're doing that. And CU Bus never looked better personally.
Absolutely.
So with your journey and everything that you've done now, man, you're getting me fired up over
Yeah,
here.
man. It's great, man. I
doing
mean,
a good job.
bro, I remember 3 years ago, you could walk you and your family into a CU game with no security. You could almost be on the sideline. Like,
Yeah.
not to, put salt on what happened before the Prime regime got there, but they were completely irrelevant in college football. And so from an economic standpoint, from a business standpoint, from a Boulder camaraderie standpoint, being a Boulderite, being proud of being from Boulder, wanting to support the Buffs and all of the things. I mean, it's just an excitement, man. Like the Baylor game and the double Hail Mary, and
Oh man,
like these are times that are
Crazy.
going to be, the epitome of Boulder history, Boulder culture, and we're just blessed to have a front seat to. I don't think people understand. There's two things I say to people all the time. One, being in Colorado, we take Colorado for granted a lot. I hear a lot of people, saying they'd rather be in other places, but I'm telling you, if you would rather be in another place in Colorado, then you haven't been to the parts of Colorado and to see how beautiful it is and see all the things that we take for granted every single day. I mean, it truly is God's country. I mean, Colorado is just beautiful, bar none. And then two, this whole Coach Prime thing, people don't understand. This is history. You know what I'm saying? We are, as Colorado, as Boulder, we are a part of sports history. CU football was the most popular, talked about story in all of, not just college football, all of sports last year. And we're making a second go of it. We have, potential players on our team that are in conversation with getting the Heisman Trophy. You're talking about the best player in college football is in our backyard right now. And so I really wish that, us as Boulderites, us as Colorado folk in general, would stand up for our state, stand up for what's happening in our state, and protect our teams. Because you can't go to Philadelphia and talk bad about a Philadelphia team. So why do we allow that in Colorado? It's time for us to really band together. I'm pro Nuggets. I'm pro Broncos. I'm pro, Avalanche. I'm pro CU Boulder. I mean, I am literally pro Colorado. And this moment is bigger than your team. This is really about us being proud to be from Colorado.
Yeah, and I agree 1,000%. I think that's what I've been trying to do here with the Fitted Nuggets fan program is really help define what we are as a community. Because,
Absolutely.
like you said, you know what a Philadelphia fan is.
Absolutely.
Like, you know what that is. But
and you're not going to come and talk about their team.
Right. And what's a Nuggets fan? I don't know.
Right.
Like, we got some ideas, but it took me a while to know what that means.
Absolutely.
And so, like, I want Denver to have that image. And same thing with CU, like, what's a CU Buffs fan? Like,
Absolutely.
I want that to have an image as well, and I love that you're behind that. I think a lot of fans nowadays are getting more serious, and what I just don't like to see, and this speaks more to social media, is just the negativity that comes from anything that goes wrong. Any
2,000%.
little minor mistake, Bo Nix has lost 2 games. Well, it's like, yeah, he's a rookie. Like,
right.
what did we expect this season? To all win all games, So I'd like to see the fans like relax a little bit in that aspect.
Yeah, man.
Ride the highs and relax on the lows.
It's the journey, man. It's the, it's for me, like I had stopped watching college football, and like being a part of this regime, I'm tuned in. I'm cheering for teams. I'm talking to other people that are passionate about their teams. I mean, it's just a beautiful thing to see. But for me, the only disheartening part is like, and Coach Prime has said it before, these are kids. Like let's be mindful that we're not talking about pros. We're talking about a bunch of kids that are hungry, chasing greatness, chasing their dreams. You would not let nobody talk about your kids like that. So let's just talk about the ball. Let's talk about the opportunity. Let's cheer for who we're cheering for. And, the negativity in sports in general, man, like it's just not necessary. Root for your horse in the race, and you don't have to. Right. My thing is, I may not be this certain fan or like this certain team, but I ain't got nothing bad to say. Now, you beat my people, I'm going to feel a little salty, but for me, I love seeing great games. People may not call Colorado, football the best team, but, hey, man, you're going to turn in and watch it because we're exciting to watch, and it's an exciting young team that, Coach Prime is building a culture in Boulder. It's not just some fly-by-night thing. You know,
Yeah.
it's really not. I mean, we're still recruiting. We're still bringing in people. We're still building a program. And so I wish that, you know, especially from our Coloradans and people in general, you know, our news, our press, that we could, you know, be more supportive.
Go Buffs.
Go Buffs.
Go Buffs, baby. All right. Well, you know, this has been really good, DJ Fedora. I really appreciated having you on. But before we let you go, you know, again, just kind of tying back into your success as a DJ and just seeing your meteoric rise in that aspect, what advice would you give to those DJs out there looking to get into the sports world, and what recommendations would you give them to like make that adjustment to the more game arena style?
Absolutely. I think that you have to define your why. You know, why are you DJing? What are you doing it for? This is my 15th year as a DJ, and I can tell you the only reason that I'm still here is because my why has been very defined. You know, I'll leave you with my favorite quote. My favorite quote is, "A comfort zone is a beautiful place where nothing grows." So for me, you know, back even when I was, you know, when I wanted to be a hip-hop dancer emphatically, I talked to this guy by the name of Rennie Harris, which is a favorite prolific choreographer. And I said, man, what do I have to do to become the best hip-hop dancer that I can be? And he literally told me, you really want to know? I said, yes. He said, train in everything but hip-hop and then come back to it. And what he was really saying to me was stretch yourself, broaden your horizons, learn all the things that you can learn, and then when you come back, you'll have a new broadened perspective. So I think for me, you know, being able to be in this profession as long as I've been able to be in it is because I am so hungry and eager to learn new things. You know, whatever is uncomfortable, you know, I try to make it comfortable by stretching yourself, you know. And so just keep at it, man. You know, really, really, really keep at it. But I'm blessed and fortunate. You know, I'm grateful. I'm humble. You got to let your ego die as well. You know, ego and pride really doesn't get us many places in life. And you also, you know, you need great relationships. You know, they say if you want to go somewhere fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, you go with those and with others. And so that's really kind of the epitome of my success, building great relationships, being consistent, and always being hungry when willing to learn and grow.
Well, that sounds like a great recipe for success for me. But once again, thank you so much for coming on the show, DJ
Absolutely,
Fedora.
man.
Really appreciate you coming out here to our studio today. And we'll be looking out you to see the Buffs here
Man,
after this bye week coming
there
up.
we go. K-State, man. We
gotta come out and see a game here soon.
Absolutely, man. You let me know. I got you.
All right,
Y'all
appreciate
stay
it.
tuned into this too, man. This is a dope little platform, man. Y'all keep locked in.
Absolutely, we appreciate that. And where can we follow your journey at? Like I said, you got some really good behind the scenes stuff.
Absolutely, man. My main social, I'm terrible at social, y'all, so I'm really trying to work on it. But my main social right now is Instagram. It's at DJ FADORAH, DJ Fedora. Catch me there for everything, man. Shoot me a follow. I love interacting with fans. I love, you know, words of encouragement, all the things. But yeah, that's where you can find me for the most part.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again, DJ.
My man.